All right, I am just going to give you all a fair warning from the beginning. I am a little under the weather. My voice is out. We are just going to roll through with it. The track made me sick. We're going to go with that one. But welcome, everybody, to post-race for the 2023 Andes Frozen Custard 300. Man, I cannot believe I stayed up almost 30 straight hours so I could watch that race. And I'm not lying to you either. I'm not. I straight up I basically been up since 5:30 in the morning yesterday, so it's really closer to 36 hours I've been up, and that was the crap I got to watch. So we might be a little more candid in this one. My voice is gone. I went to an Avenged Sevenfold concert. Darian was there. My cousin was there. It was great. It was great. But let's talk about the racing. That's what y'all are here for. Let's get into it really quick. NBC has just posted up the playoff standings. You got John Hunter Nemechek, Justin Allgaier advancing with the win. Cole Custer has enough points now to advance. Then you got Austin Hill plus 44, Chandler Smith plus 32, Sammy Smith plus 18, then plus 9 for Sheldon Creed in 7th. 8th is Daniel Hemrick plus 1 over Parker Kligerman in 9th, who damn near locked himself in with a win today. Jeb Burton in 10th, minus that 19. Got new contacts, and somehow my vision's worse. Josh Berry, minus 27, and Sam Mayer, caboose on the playoff field. Heading into the Roval, he is in a must-win, minus 34. Yes, I will be drinking some NyQuil later tonight. I actually have to be up a little more today. But really quick, I want to thank these people here, Jimmy Leos and Phoebe, for donations and member chats. Jimmy Leos for 5 says, hi, that was a great Xfinity Series race. Also, the weather is not looking great for tomorrow in the Cup Series. I'm going to disagree with you. I did not like that race at all. I thought it was awful. It was probably the worst Texas Xfinity race I've ever watched. And that's saying something, because this new Texas pisses me off. I'm sorry, it just does. Because the Texas we had pre-2017 was not a bad track. And the fact that they're thinking about going super speedway with this, which Kyle Busch said today, instead of actually fixing the problem and going for better overall racing instead of the quick fix, again, just it annoys me to no end. As for tomorrow's Cup race, so from what I'm looking at on AccuWeather, 55% chance in thunderstorms. They are widely separated, similar to the thunderstorms going through Texas today. But if you're going to the track, hydrate, have a lot of water, prepare. It's going to be 102 with a real feel, heat index up to as high as 110, and the wind might not even be that much until the end of the race. So it's going to be a hot one. If you're going, please take care of yourself. But let's get into also Phoebe for the member chat. Thank you for being an Iceberg member for 7 months. The NASCAR Euro Series race today was better. I don't doubt it. Click that like button, by the way, while you're at it. And let's get into the in-depth stuff on the 2023 Andes Frozen Custard 300. This was a 200-lap race that went for 2 hours, 47 minutes, 59 seconds. 9 lead changes, only 4 leaders today, 12 cautions, and God, it felt like there were more. John Hunter Nemechek gets the win at the end. He wins by pretty much an even second over Parker Kligerman. Kligerman, probably the best race of his year so far. Sammy Smith in 3rd. 4th, Chandler Smith. 5th, Justin Allgaier. Got behind late in the race after a bad restart. We'll talk about that in a moment. Just never could get the tire sequence back on track. Could not get anything really completely back online. Ultimately, on worse tires, falls back. Still gets a top 5, though. Cole Custer, 6th place run. That's enough for him to be locked into the next round. Then you got Austin Hill in 7th after a wreck. I'd say pretty good day for them. Sheldon Creed sucked all day, but attrition got him up to an 8th place finish. 9th is Brandon Jones. 10th, Brett Moffitt. The Siegs, Ryan in 11th. 12th is Kyle. Then you got 13th place Ryan Ellis. And Anthony Alfredo, 14th. 15th, final car on the lead lap, Kyle Weatherman. After that, you have 3 guys a lap down, Parker Chase in 16th, Daniel Dye, first Xfinity start in 17th, and 18th is Jeremy Clements. Lane Riggs in the 11, our thumbnail driver, 19th, 2 laps down. Josh Williams, who had to be replaced during the race by, who was it? Stephen Parsons, finishes 20th overall. So Josh Williams credited with the 20th place finish. And Dawson Cram, 21st, 2 laps down. Then you got David Starr, 22nd, 3 down. Sage Karam will be 3 down in 23rd. 5 laps down out of the race, 24th place, Daniel Hemrick. CJ McLaughlin on track finishes 5 laps down. Joey Gase -6 and 26th. Josh Berry, another bad run for Berry, comes home 7th, 27th position. Probably in a must-win at the Roval as well in 2 weeks. And then everyone else from 28th on down is out. J.J. Yaley, 28th, out of the race. Kaz Grala, 29th, out of the race. Then Parker Retzlaff in 30th. Jeb Burton, who threw his crew under the bus during this race, in 31st. Jeffrey Earnhardt in 32nd. Trevor Bayne had a good run in the early part of this race, but comes home 33rd after a wreck. Brennan Poole, scary crash for him, finishes 34th. Patrick Emmerling, 35th. Joe Graff Jr., 36th. Riley Herbst in 37th. And Sam Mayer, not credited with even finishing a lap today. Last place, 38th position. Marky Mark, thank you for the 2. Cancel the race. Way too hot. NASCAR hasn't canceled races for heat before. I don't think they're going to do it on this one. People just, for the few people who probably will show up, just be ready for it, please. Do not go and get, completely sloshed drunk. Like, take care of yourself. If you're going to the race, drink plenty of water. Bring whatever they allow you to bring in. Kyludo's Corner, thank you for the 2. Moffitt P10 will have a teammate next year. That's right, he will. I already see people saying Haley Deegan. I'm like, oh, let's pump the brakes a little bit on that one. And then Phoebe for the 2. Unfortunately, that teammate may be Haley Deegan, which is that, again, we're going to pump the brakes a little bit on that one. Real quick, I'm going to get a thing of water so I don't start talking like this. Bench Sevenfold is a fun concert, but man, it takes a toll on the voice when you sing along to A Little Piece of Heaven. Let's get into this race. Let's talk about it. We'll talk about Texas tomorrow as well. And, well, let's just get right into it. Justin Allgaier starts on the pole. It's hot. It's windy. That's going to affect the handling as well, and it did. Lap 1, second turn. Sam Mayer out of the groove, right up into the wall. Does not finish anything at all. Just terrible run for him. He could win the Roval. He could get himself into the next round, but having to rely on one of the most chaotic races of the year for both the Cup and Xfinity Series, I'm not sold. I'll just say that. He did say, when interviewed about it, track has no grip because they ruined it with PJ1. They did not put PJ1 on this year, but the track is so screwed because of how badly they messed it up that now, it's like IndyCar even talked about it. You can barely race on it. And the way that it's affected the asphalt, it's an egregious error. They never should have went away from the configuration they had before. It was getting right into its prime, and with this car, would have probably made Texas one of the best tracks on the schedule. Same with Atlanta, but unfortunately, this is the position we're in. No caution was called for Sam Mayer, which surprised me. But lap 2, caution was called for Riley Herbst getting into the turn 4 wall. He would then go to the garage as well, only finishing ahead of Sam Mayer. I believe he said something might have been broke in the car or maybe a flat or something, but doesn't matter now. He finished 37th on the day. On lap 8, you have a restart. Allgaier, which he would do for much of the first 2/3 of this race, runs out with the lead. After that, you have a caution for the 53, the 38, and the 11, where the 11 flies through the grass. No major damage for the most part on that one. But only 3 laps later, as they're, after the restart, I should say, when Allgaier gets past Austin Hill for the lead, Daniel Hemrick clips the grass, damages a splitter, and he's stuck with that damage the whole race. It was funny hearing Dale Jr. talk about that. If you remember in 2014, he had a wreck where he hit on a Monday race, by the way, hit the grass with his splitter at Texas. just because it's hard to judge, I guess. I remember that race because I was sitting in a study hall, and my teacher was so cool to let me live stream the race because I found a link for it. This is back in 2014. It was not as easy to find links to live stream stuff as it is today. There were no international feeds readily available, but I managed to find a link watching the race, after he says it's cool to. And within 14 laps, my guy's out, and I'm just like, screw it. I'll watch the rest of it when I get home or something. And he comes back in. He's like, you can watch the race, like, you don't have to do anything. I'm like, yeah, my favorite guy's already out. It's like if you're watching baseball and within the first inning, there's a grand slam or two, and it's just that's how I explained it to him. But ultimately, that eventful start to the race subsides for a bit. They end the stage with Allgaier winning over Austin Hill, Cole Custer third, fourth Trevor Bayne, fifth John Hunter Nemechek, sixth Brandon Jones. Then you got Kligerman seventh, Barry eighth, Sammy Smith ninth, and Chandler Smith 10th in the stage. It'd probably help if I put some of the post-race results up here. By the way, live tomorrow after the Cup race, however good or probably terrible it will be. And then the NASCAR Weekly Podcast will be on Black Flags Matters channel. So going to be a lot of fun this week. Got a lot to look forward to, and it's Dega. At least we get Talladega after this. Click that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. We do this after every race. Not many races left this year to do it for. Now, Creed would get the lucky dog at the end of the first stage. Barely. He got lapped, then passed. I can't remember who he passed, but he passed somebody right at the end of it. And was able to get the lucky dog, and he basically just hung on by his fingertips the entire day. It was a pretty ugly race for a team that most of the time, honestly, had run pretty damn well this year. And I think it was Jeff Burton who said, let's just call it what it is. They ran bad, or it might have been Letarte. I don't know. They all washed together at some points. But on lap 53, we have a restart, and this is the main theme of the middle part of this race. Allgaier versus Custer. These guys are the ones who are going to be fighting for the lead for the majority of the day. Custer gets ahead on this one, but it's not but 3 laps later, we have our scariest crash of the day. And with that, you have Brennan Poole spinning through the grass. I believe he was off the nose of Ryan Sieg. Not sure, really. It seemed like one was kind of going up a little bit, but it kind of seemed like Poole went down more. Gase was involved, but he was, just sort of spun a little bit. But Poole goes through the infield grass and nails the pit wall. Scary crash. Obviously they don't have reinforced safety walls and safer barriers there, which I don't expect that to be a thing at any point. But he nails the wall, is okay. Everyone's okay on pit road. But attaboy, I'll say this. Attaboy to NBC for the great camera work, both on that wreck and just in general today. I thought they had great camera work, and it's sad that it's been completely wasted on this garbage product. But hey, you know what? At least Eric Estep's logo on Brennan's fire suit got some TV time. So, I mean, that's a positive. I thought that was pretty cool. But on lap 64, we have a restart. And again, it's the 00 versus the 7. This time, Allgaier goes to the lead. And with it, only 2 laps later, it's Jeffrey Earnhardt now going into turn 2 wall. Turn 2 wall was a serial killer today, guys. There's no other way I'm going to put it. I mean, that wall reached out and killed a lot of cars. He just got out of the PJ1. That was the thing in turns 1 and 2. If you got above that PJ1 line that they were running in, and that dark line, you could just see it. As soon as a car's right tires, even one of them got out, you just see him slide right up the track and into the wall. There's nothing they can do. Turns 1 and 2 at Texas are broken. They're just straight up broken. And they go back to the old configuration. No, people are, that's boring or whatever. No. This next-gen car races well at 1.5 mile tracks. There's no reason that it should be like this. It seems like the track surface has aged relatively quickly. I mean, compared to a lot of repaves people think of. And we've seen 1.5 miles be repaved with other generations of cars that still run well. Gen 4 COT ran well at repaves and reconfigurations, like at Atlanta in the early 2000s, late 90s, as well as Kansas in the early 2010s to today. So It's not like you can't just kind of go back to that Charlotte clone setup and you're just going to have horrible racing for 10 years like Michigan. Michigan had horrible racing with their repay, but I don't think you'd have that here. Maybe a year or two, but they can sustain that. And making a super speedway is not the answer. They have a restart on lap 70, though. Going back to the race here, it's a 7-0-0 again, and again, it's a 7. You're going to hear this a lot when it comes to that. There was a little contact between Parker Kligerman and Chandler Smith. Nothing really major came of it, though. And then there was a vibration from Jeb Burton, and it would only get worse through the day. Allgaier wins stage 2, sweeps the stages. Custer in second. Austin Hill in third. Fourth is John Hunter Nemechek, Trevor Bayne fifth. Then Josh Berry, Chandler Smith, Parker Kligerman, Brandon Jones, and Sammy Smith round out the top 10. Really quick, go to these 2 super chats from Kylito's Corner for 2. Deegan might come with more Ford support, though. Again, that is, but it's only theorized right now. I don't want to go overboard and say it's going to happen just because I'm going to believe it when I see it. I think that's the way I'm going to go with it. I'm going to believe it when I see it. Probably could happen. It would make sense, but I want to wait and see. And then Justin, thank you for the 10. For me, 2005 Fall Talladega race is my favorite NBC race. Sharpie 500, my favorite TNT race. 1995 Bristol Fall race is my favorite ESPN race. 94 is my favorite ABC race. God, that's tough. My favorite TNT race is 2012 Michigan. I'll say that. Being there when Junior won was pretty damn awesome, and I rewatch that race like every year when that day comes around. So that one's like just right away. NBC race, man. Maybe 2018 Chicagoland. Because if you watch that race from start to finish, is one of the best races I've ever watched. As for ESPN, ABC, I'd have to take more time to think on that one. All right. We're good. I can make it. The voice will prevail. Stephen Parsons would fill in for the sick Josh Williams. From what it sounded like, he had talked about having a runny nose. So I would probably, I don't want to assume too much, but I probably would think it would be maybe flu symptoms or something. I'll tell you now, I just have a head cold. I don't have the flu. And I'm just, I have no sleep. That's really what's affecting me more. But hopefully Josh is okay. Probably went to the infield care center, probably got some fluid. Hopefully he's doing fine. Got top 20 in that car, so can't be too upset with that. Danny Alex in the chat says, fun fact, if John Hunter Nemechek wins the title this year, then Toyota and JGR will win 3 straight Xfinity championships. That was just unfunny. But let's get back to it. Jeb Burton, we talked about the vibration he had at the end of the stage. Damn wheel falls off on the track. Had a lot of issues with that car throughout the rest of the day. And like I said, he'd limp home to, I believe, a 31st place run, I want to say. I'll double check really quick. Yes, 31st place run for Jeb Burton. It's a terrible day, man. After that, 102 to go. We get the restart again. 7 versus the 0-0. On pit road before that, Austin Hill had a bad pit stop, dropped him 7 spots into the scrum, into the main area with the melee. Because of that, he got caught up with Josh Berry, Trevor Bayne, and Kyle Weatherman in a crash on the restart, taking them all pretty much out of contention. He had the 21 a hill, continued on, ran up there, had some good restarts, but nothing really to speak of that was great or even good. That car did not deserve to be up there, and the fact that they salvaged, I believe, a 7th position finish is what I was saying. It is a pretty damn good day overall. From there, with 96 to go, we had another restart, 7 leads again over the 0-0, and this is where we get Parker Retzlaff into the turn 2 wall, strikes again. After that, another 4 laps, we have Jeffrey Earnhardt into the turn 2 wall. Caution is out. The damn drive shaft got ripped out of the car, which means that was a hell of an impact. We'll just put it like that. With 86 left, another restart. Now Custer gets the lead because Justin Allgaier into the corner, can't really get it down with him. I believe has to check up. Chandler Smith right there. He has nowhere to go. I'm not blaming him on that, but Allgaier gets shuffled back to the back of the top 20 at this point. And Dawson Cram would spin a couple laps later. And now it's the true guy who is going to be running for the win up there against Custer. And that's John Hunter Nemechek, who gets the lead with 76 to go. Allgaier would change his tires and would charge up through the field, up to the top 5 pretty damn quickly. From there, too, you also had an interview with Jeb Burton. And I'm just going to say this right now. Jeb Burton completely threw his crew under the bus. And maybe it was their fault. Probably was. But, man, to throw your crew under the bus on national television like that, that's cold, man. That's cold. But they continued on without him. We had an actual green flag run. Green flag pit stops were going good. And then the Truck Series caution clock moved up to Xfinity Series this week. Daniel Dye brings out a yellow during the green flag pit stops. Shuffles everything up. A lot of those leaders, like John Hunter Nemechek, would have to take a wave around to get back on the lead lap and actually compete for the win. With 35 to go, it is the 7 of Justin Allgaier now up front, and the 10 of Daniel Hemrick that are going for it. Have a bit more worn tires. The shuffling goes on. But within 10 laps, John Hunter Nemechek, again, it was hard to pass, but not impossible. John Hunter Nemechek vaults himself up to the second position, charging up. He's a 10th or 2 faster a second. We are with 24 or so to go, 2.5 second lead. It's going to be close, and an actual debris yellow happens. We've had BS debris yellows. This was not one of them. We have a real debris yellow. Sheet metal is bouncing around on the backstretch. The 7 and the 21 would stay out. I believe they did not have any more tires, or they just had scuffs. They stay out. Others stay out too, while the leaders pit and get 4 freshies. From there, it is Allgaier and Austin Hill fighting for the lead. John Hunter Nemechek in one corner goes from 6th to 3rd. He is the one who was the favorite to win at this point. But Kaz Grala and J.J. Yaley would wreck in the ensuing corner, bringing us to a 10-lap shootout for the win. And with that, you have Allgaier and Austin Hill again up there. Nemechek would go in the same lane as Allgaier, just wanting to avoid wherever Austin Hill was. But he misses a shift, I think, on the restart. Has a horrible restart, falls back. Hill is fighting Allgaier to no avail, but Kligerman with fresher tires is up to 3rd, then up to 2nd, the very next lap. 9 to go, charging up there. 8 to go, battling for the lead. Takes it away from the 7, but the 2 of them slow each other down enough. It's John Hunter Nemechek flying by, coming to 7 to go on the front stretch, and he would go on to win the race. The only real other stuff of note at the end is Allgaier and Austin Hill would fall back, and Daniel Hemrick would go to the pits and eventually the garage after hitting the wall. And thankfully, the race is finally over, and we only have 1 left now. Only have 1 Texas race left until next year, which the rumors are we'll at least get it out of the way early next year and have it in April. So, yay. But yeah, looking at all this, it was. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could sugarcoat it. That was at best a 2 out of 10 race. Yeah, there was passing. It was not the worst race I've ever seen. It was the worst Xfinity Texas race. Man, I'm hard pressed to believe it might be the worst Texas race I've ever watched. I'm thankful that they took 100 miles off of the Texas Racing Cup. We'll at least have to endure 400 miles instead of 500. It's one of the few ones I think all fans are okay with having laps taken away from. But that was ugly, man. That was ugly. I for those few of you in the chat that like it, I'm jealous of you. I'm seeing some of you say that I'm being a little too overboard on it. I don't think so. The last couple years did not have as bad of races, but this was not one of them. This race is not one that people just randomly or unfairly hated on Texas. This one is deserved. So I think Noah Coleman, yeah, maybe the All-Star race is probably worse, but as for Xfinity ones, this is the worst I've ever watched. And I hope to God the drivers can get through to SMI and NASCAR so that this is not another super speedway. This probably should have been the super speedway, and Atlanta should have went back to the way it was. Man, I mean, this track's making me sick. See, I'm already coughing. But we have that race tomorrow coming up. Bubba Wallace won the pole. Again, the Cinderella story keeps going for Bubba Wallace. If he can get a top 5, top 10 run, get a lot of stage points, maybe even contend for a win, that would be pretty, it'd be pretty interesting. KJ Productions has me tagged in the chat saying, in my opinion, this race was good. Criticize me if you want, but I'm one of the fans who really likes Texas. Good for you. That's all I gotta say. Good for you, man. I completely disagree with you, but I'm not gonna hate on you. I would say, Blue Jimmy, I would not say that though. It's not. If the race tomorrow though is better than we think it'll be, and definitely better than this, I want to be happy. I want to be happy with it. But you know, Allie Miller saying we're too quick to jump on the Texas hate train. I mean, you only watch the last 50 laps were the best part. They were not crashing all the time, at least, but it was not good. It was. I did not think it was a good race. I won't say worst race of the year. As much as it pains me to say it, I think North Wilkesboro was worse in Cup, but that was bad. I wish I could have a better way to end off on. I hope they change it back to the old layout because I think the racing would be amazing with the next gen car. Xfinity can make almost any track. If it's not good, they can make it decent at least. That's probably what a lot of people are happy, like it was decent, but yeah. Shane Greenaway brings up a good point. Kind of reminds him of 97, 98 Texas before they had to reconfigure it again because it was so broken then. I can see that. I can agree with that, especially over in 1 and 2. But no, it is what it is. We deal with it once a year at least not twice a year. It could be worse. So, y'all, I wish that I wish that I could have more fun with it, like a lot of y'all are, but I just can't. I just cannot. But hopefully tomorrow's better. We're all gonna have a good weekend no matter what. Life's good. So let's focus on the good stuff. Y'all have a great night. I'm gonna focus on getting more than 45 minutes of sleep in the next 36 hours, and maybe getting my voice to sound at least a little more human. I will not be screaming at an Avenged Sevenfold concert for 2 hours tonight. So there is that. But thank you all so much for watching. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Can't wait to see you on Wednesday on BFM's channel. Can't wait to see you the rest of the year. And until tomorrow, until next time, have a great night. Love y'all.